Just waiting on notification. Excellent. And we are live. I want to thank everyone for tuning into a very special edition of Off the Record on the People's Podcast this afternoon. We have a wonderful guest with us today, one who is going to give us some amazing information as well as inspiration, and that is none other than the incredible Sis Deniel. Assalamu alaikum, ma'am.
Walaikum salam. Thank you so much for that.
Yes, ma'am. Well, I just want to say before we get started, for those who don't know, but on behalf of myself and my family, and of course the Viewing Artists People's Podcast, we want to just thank you for all the work that you have done, are doing, and continue to do. But Sis Deniel is someone who is very close to my family and watched me and my siblings grow up, and we just always, always had a great connection with you. So we just want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to come on the People's Podcast.
It is my pleasure. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I love your whole family.
Yes, ma'am.
Sure. As you know, your sister was in my wedding. She was my flower. I was
going to ask you that. Okay, we can start with that. We go right there. How did that come about with me being at your wedding?
Well, I was a fan of hers. She was the most composed, mature little girl I'd ever seen in my life. I've never seen anybody like that. And she reminded me of me as an adult, not as a child. She really reminded me of a little miniature version of myself or of how I wanted to be. Just a very, you could tell that she was being raised properly. Just beautiful, humble, sweet little girl. So that's how that happened. I just loved her. Still love her.
Okay, yes, ma'am. All right. Wonderful. Well, on Facebook, I see so many of your pictures and your videos, you dealing with peace, positivity, and yoga. Can you let us know how did you get into that?
Sure. So I'm an instructor. So I started out teaching or just doing personal training. And then I went from personal training to group training, and I started, training groups. So I teach kickbox, strength training, boot camps, Pilates, everything. So yoga was just the next natural progression for me. So really it was more of an intellectual thing. Like, well, now it's time for me to get this certification so that I could offer this class. Now it's my favorite class that I teach. I still offer all of those classes, but I'm always talking about yoga. When I went into the certification, you probably have seen pictures of me on Facebook where I'm in yoga poses. I had no clue what yoga was then. I'm so new to yoga that it shocks people because they have seen those pictures for so many years, but I didn't even know what yoga was. I just loved the aesthetic of yoga and how beautiful looking it was, how graceful it looked. So when I decided to get certified in yoga, that's when I actually learned what yoga even was. And it was such divine timing that I did that because I actually needed it when I went to go get certified. I was really serving myself with the yoga practice, and that made me, put everything into it. I got to the point where I am now, where this is really mostly what I do.
Excellent. Yes, ma'am. And both my sisters, Miriam and Naima, send the greetings. And Naima said, Mimi said that she loves you both. She's saying both, but she's just saying she loves you. Okay, I got it. Yes, ma'am.
Thank
okay,
you.
so
I love y'all too.
What advice would you give to people about the value of yoga?
The value of yoga. So yoga just means to yoke or to join together. So body, mind, and spirit to be in alignment. That's really all it means. The individual self joining on with the mass consciousness or universal intelligence. A way to return to you, to connect back to you and to your source. That's really all yoga means. And I have met people before who feel like yoga is against their religion. And some people practice yoga as a religion. I've met a lot of Christians who feel like, no, I don't do yoga. That's devil worship. I'm like, devil worship where?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But, I guess people have all sorts of, beliefs. I never heard anything like that. So I wasn't at all nervous about approaching. Yoga just enhances whatever else you are doing. It's a strong physical practice, and it enhances whatever spiritual religious practice you believe in. It helps you to approach that more wholly and fully.
Absolutely beautiful. I took a yoga course. I think it was my sophomore year in college. I took a yoga course, and I did it to impress basically the women, because it was only me and one other man in there. So it was like all these girls. I was like, oh, let's sign up for yoga. And
right.
when I didn't know how hard it would be.
Exactly.
I know how it was very physical, and I thought it was I had to get my core tight. It was very challenging but fun course that I took. Do you have ways for people who aren't, well, first of all, in studio, can people sign up? Where can they sign up to, if they want to do yoga? And people who are virtual who want to support you, how can they do that as well?
Well, I am starting an online program. I say that all the time, and I never do it. But at the moment, the gym chain that I work for, I'm an activities director there. We are losing clubs. So I'm losing most of the gyms that I teach in. And it's an opportunity for me to kind of segue something that I have wanted to do anyway, to get online a little bit. I've thought about, just YouTube. My son talked about building an app for me. He's a computer programmer.
Okay.
So all of those things are down the pipe for sure. So, but in their own areas, if they want to go and take a physical class, there are a lot of yoga studios that could get a little pricey. And if you go to a regular gym, I don't know if you guys have LA Fitnesses there.
Yes, ma'am, we do.
They offer yoga there. That's probably one of the cheaper routes. It is a little bit of a different type of yoga than what you would get in the studio. But they could sign up anywhere. They can look online. Yoga is being taught everywhere. And you can just do it on YouTube. If you really just want to get started, type in what it is that you're looking for. I'm just impressed that you even knew what yoga was in college. I certainly did not. That's impressive to me.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, wonderful. And thank you everyone who was watching. Okay, well, Sis Deniel, I wanted to ask you about meditating and it bringing you the power of meditation, bringing you peace during yoga. Because one of the women who I met in that yoga course, I'm friends with her on Instagram, or we follow each other on Instagram, and she's always about how meditation brings her peace. And so you got to get centered. And anytime I get upset, she'll message me like, Josh, remember, get centered before you get, you know what I'm saying, think, you know what I'm saying, come up here, and all the chakras, all the breakdown. So how important is meditation to the practice of yoga?
It is the most important part of yoga. The fact that we have, whenever we get something in the West, we tend to take it and change it and water it down, squeeze all of what it originally was out of it. And what yoga originally was a meditation practice. It was an opportunity to sit, come back to the present moment, because we get so caught up and anxious about the future, ruminating on the past. We get depressed or angry about things that may have happened. Yoga says, come back here now and be present. That's what it was. There was no physical aspect to yoga when it first got started. For thousands of years, there were no physical postures, but they would sit for so long in meditation that they found that the chi or prana would not be served well by all of those hours of sitting. The body is made to be moved. We are physical people. We come into babies are always moving their arms. They don't even have a choice when they're born. When they come in, their arms are just flailing about. And that's what our bodies are meant to do, is move. So they started to add poses that would stretch them out from sitting in meditation for so long. They found that their vitality was actually decreased as a result of sitting for so long. So as they created this physical practice, it actually aided them to sit in meditation. Physical movement, when you change your physical state, you automatically are going to change your emotional, mental state. So that's why the postures got added on. But in the West, it's become almost a physical practice. A lot of people do yoga just to be strong and flexible, which is awesome and necessary. But really the whole point, and that's why I actually wanted to get certified. I wanted to just do it as a physical practice.
Yes, ma'am.
Had no idea it would serve me in my life in the way that it did at that time.
Excellent. Yes, ma'am. Hey, Sister Audra says, that's make like Sister Audra. Thank you for watching. And I can't wait to put this on YouTube. Thank you, everyone, for every like, share, subscription, as well as Cash App to the People's Podcast. We thank you very much. Okay, I wanted to ask you about, you spoke about your 3 children, motherhood. What advice would you give to future mothers?
What advice would I give to future mothers? Don't lose yourself. Make yourself a priority. And that's almost cliche now, because you hear that all the time. Self-care is important. Don't forget about you. But we do forget about ourselves. I totally lost myself in motherhood. I homeschooled my children. I worked at home. So I was having for a while no contact with the public until I got on Facebook. And then I just had an online contact with people. But it's so important to, but I can't say that I regret the way that I was, because there were a lot of things that I learned being so just me and my children. There were so many things that I learned that served me later. But one thing that I did that I wouldn't want any other mothers to do, keep your friend groups alive. Make time to really check in with yourself. Yoga is such a great thing for mothers. I wish I had a yoga practice when I had my children, when they were all small, because I wouldn't have gotten so overwhelmed so many times rearing children. So a yoga practice, something that helps a mother to forget about the children, because when do you get to forget? We don't even want to forget our children. We love our children like we love our fingers. We want all our fingers to do things that we do, and we love our children. So everything becomes about them, but you give less when you can't give them as much. The quality of what you give them will be less if you don't give to yourself in a quality way. And a lot of times we think self-care is going to get our nails and our toes done. And that is something, but that is not returning to you and checking in with your heart. Is there sadness here? Am I truly happy? Is my life serving me in this way? What changes could I make? And you can't even find the answer to your heart knows all those things, but we don't check in with our heart. We check in with everybody else. But if we check in with ourselves, you have so much more authenticity to give to your children. You're less likely to get overwhelmed with motherhood. Because I had 3 children sort of back to back, not like on top of each other. I had a little bit of space, but I really didn't have babysitters. I really kind of reared them alone, because I was homeschooling them all the time. After homeschooling, I taught one class in the evening. So I'm still giving of myself. And then I took them to all of their sports and things at the end of the day. So where did I fit in? I really didn't, unless I took a vacation, which was not often enough. You need a regular self-care practice. And I suggest yoga. Even if you are not you don't feel like you could hold your weight up, that comes. There is yin yoga, YIN. You don't even go up and down. Like, it sounds like the type of yoga you did was the type of yoga that I teach. I teach a strong practice, sometimes a little bit more restorative, but it is a tough practice. But yoga, anybody can do yoga. anybody can meditate. And it's easier to meditate after you have gotten physical, even if it's not yoga, even if you just did a vigorous walk or some squats, just to clear out all of that stagnant energy. Then you could sit and be still for a moment. Does that make sense?
Makes perfect sense. Yes, ma'am. Great. And Sister Naima says, great advice. Hey, Malika Baka's watching. Okay, Malika Baka says yoga is the best. She feels like Superwoman after. Now she's choosing on you, saying that you remind her of Lisa Ray. And then she said Bikram is her favorite and is so empowering. Thank you, Malika Baka, for saying Bikram. And she said Bikram was her favorite and so empowering. Great. I wanted to ask you about specific music. So in Atlanta, a lot of the younger women who I guess got onto yoga through Janae Ayuku and things of that nature, they'll send me these yoga YouTube videos and stuff like that, like meditation through her, like, you know, which I guess like Janae Ayuku has her own yoga thing going on like on YouTube. Do you believe that you should listen to like a specific sound? Is it like outdoorsy, something you meditate, or what do you suggest?
That's a great question. I want to go back to the person who just mentioned Bikram is her favorite. Mm-hmm. That's my first introduction to a yoga class. That hot 26 and 2 postures. She'll know what I'm talking about. Okay. They close those doors. The first time I went into a Bikram class, it's a hot yoga class. And when I say hot, I'm talking about hot, burning up. As soon as I got in there, I turned around, bumped into my cousin who brought me, because I was trying to break up out of that hot room. I started to feel claustrophobic, but she was so calm. I stayed and I got addicted to it at that point. That is really part of what's made me say, okay, it's time right now, was Bikram yoga. Bikram yoga was amazing for me. I don't teach Bikram yoga, but it's one of my favorite formats. As far as music, that is really a preference. I have a lot of coworkers that are yoga instructors, and they have these awesome curated playlists where they have, and they're young. These are younger people who have really wonderful playlists. Lyrics are really conducive to what they're doing. I can't do it. I tried that one time. Once I did a playlist that had, you know, actual songs. I started singing. I got lost in my routine. I was ready to dance. You know, I can't do it. I cannot. I really prefer just something very soothing. I don't even really like to have beats until we go into the serious meat and potatoes of the class. Then I'll, you know, put on a little bit of a beat, just so that we keep this flow going and, it, you know, people kind of get locked into that moving meditation when you have a little bit of a more upbeat song. But I really prefer the music to not guide you. I prefer lyrics to not guide you, because sometimes I will use a song with lyrics in it towards the end if I've been on a certain theme and I want to enhance that theme by the end, and I want them to think certain things. But for the most part, I don't like lyrics because I don't want them to think certain things. I want them to feel what is coming up for them. And sometimes lyrics will guide you to another place. You know what I'm saying? It'll make you think about certain things. So I really prefer a more, you know, just an instrumental, real calm instrumental. But if you're just meditating, I like to meditate in silence. Most people, though, they like to hear sort of unstructured, easy music, maybe piano or, you know, just light music, you know. So play with it. You might be one of those people who can't stand silence and you just need to hear something in the background. And I prefer silence personally, you know.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, great response, and thank you all for your comments and questions. Sister Audra has many questions. Thank you very much. She said, has your practice brought you to any connection to postures and rakas? I guess what you're saying, rakas.
So interesting. Man, okay. Sister Audra said that. I wonder if that's my
Yes,
Audra. I don't know if that's my Audra from Chicago.
that's what that is. That's what that is.
That's her.
Yes,
Some like Sister Audra. I love Sister Audra. I feel like the son A. I asked somebody else if it reminded them of a raka, and they felt like it didn't. But for me, the son A is just like a raka to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you kind of circle your arms up. You kind of come into this position, and then you go forward. You go on the floor. Your forehead is on the floor. It's just like a raka to me. And when I first learned that, that's the first thing that I thought of. I said, wow, there are so many commonalities that thread religions together. And if we focused on that, if we focus more on how these different practices bear witness to the same thing, really, and not focus on division. Who wants to focus on division? I mean, something might not be for me, but I don't have to focus there. You know what I'm saying? I can take what is good. So yeah, I think if that's what she meant, I'm not sure if that's what she meant, but that's what I immediately came to mind, because when I first went through what's called a sun salutation A, the first warm-up series, it reminds me of a raka.
Beautiful. Yes, ma'am. Excellent. And thank you, everyone who's showing love to Sis Deniel all across the country. Brother Roosevelt says, Peace Queen, do you teach the Phoenix meditation, and is there a difference?
Thank you for that question. I recently heard of that. One of the yoga students that came to my class, it was an older man. And he came and he gave me a packet that had that on there. And I'm not really familiar with that. But that's what it was. So I know what he's talking about. I read through it, but I don't have a real grasp to speak on that.
Wonderful. Yes, ma'am. We have a few more questions for our sister. So the Audra says, yes, that's what she meant, and she loves you, and she's putting all these emojis. This is the most Sister Audra has ever put in the comments, so I can tell she's a fan of yours. Okay,
that's my girl.
Excellent. We have a quick 60-second commercial break for all of the sponsors of the People's Podcast, and then we're coming right back to our sister, Sis Deniel. 1 moment. There we go.
Camera and a drone. He does television and film editing. Please reach out to him if you need any of those services. Sister Miriam's ABC I Love Me, children's book and coloring book, and now Spanish book. All 3 available on Amazon.com. Sister Naima's Stay on Point Dance Academy, LLC. She teaches ballet virtually to young girls all across the country, right here in the studios of Atlanta, Georgia. Brother Kenneth's Bow Tie Maker Extraordinaire. He'll ship you bow ties anywhere across the nation. Dr. Henry Carter's King Henry Turkey Legs, right here in Atlanta, Georgia. Brother Rashad Muhammad's COVID-19 Disinfected Cleaning Services, out of Chicago. Student Minister Sharif Muhammad's book, A Soldier in the Movement of Christ, available on adulsharif.com. And lastly, Brother Joshua Muhammad's book, Cleopatra, as well as No Father, No Excuse, both available on Amazon.
Boom. All right. Also, exclusively for you, Black Man, by Sister Helen, she made a book of poetry and spoken word pieces. You can order them on HRSPATROL42@gmail.com. All right, Sister Neil, right back to you. The difference in rearing boy children versus girl children. How was that?
It was fun. I really, after I had my first 2 sons, once I found out I was pregnant again, I just wanted another boy. Because, well, I got boys, they might as well have another friend. Then I found out, and I originally wanted girls, of course. But the girls are, I don't know, because you have a different relationship with each of them at different points. But your daughters are my daughter was tough. She was tough, but she was so just like a little cuddly teddy bear. She was so sweet and girly. And, they become your little best friends when you have a little daughter. But my sons were too. I had periods where I was really close with this son and really close with this son at a different period. But my daughter, that's your buddy for life.
Beautiful. Yes, ma'am. All right. And what do you do for fun outside of yoga?
Dance.
Dance. Yes, ma'am.
Dance. I will dance for no reason, anywhere. Every class that I teach, I'm going to break out in a dance, except for yoga, because the music is not conducive to dance. But yes, I love to dance. I like to read. I love to go to the beach, but mostly dance. Yeah. If for fun, I'm going to be dancing.
Wonderful. And what has been the greatest joy in your life?
You ask great questions. What has been the greatest joy in my life? That's a really hard one. I guess rearing my children, honestly. Right now, they're young adults. Rearing them was so much easier than dealing with the adult versions. But I guess if I would have to say, yeah, the relationships that you build molding these lives. But then I just had a vacation with 24 of my cousins. And that was the best thing ever. That was the best time I ever had. I never had so much fun before, except other than that vacation. But yeah, I guess joy, true joy, just spending so much time with them, being able to teach them in the way that I did teach them.
Wonderful. Have you ever been faced with fear? And if so, how did you overcome that fear?
Wow. So many times in the present moment, right now. Matter of fact, the yoga class that I just taught before I got here, that was the thing, fear. Whenever you're in transition, and we are always in transition, some of them more sharp than others, but there's always some fear and trepidation as you approach this transition. And I'm in transition in my professional life, in my personal life. I'm in major transition. So it's scary. But I always say, there is fear and doubt that can be replaced with love and trust. And whatever is not love and trust is fear and doubt. And if you can take a moment to come to the present moment, which yoga teaches you to do often, if you can take a moment to come to this moment and you can acknowledge this is fear. I'm doubting myself. I'm doubting myself in this way. And then you can, everything is everything. So if there's a stick, the stick is just the stick. You can grab the stick at this end, or you can grab the stick at this end. On this end is fear. And then all of these different points on the other end is faith. And I can choose to pick up this stick on this end or this end. And if you have a practice of coming to the present moment, which prayer is so similar to meditation or leads the way into meditation, and you can just have faith. It takes the same amount of energy to love yourself and have faith. And why should I have faith? Why shouldn't I be afraid? I'm facing this new life. I'm facing a new life as a single person. That's kind of scary for me. So can I make it on my own? Can I, what is there for me? Will this be there for me? Will that be there for me? Maybe not, or maybe. But I've been taken care of my whole life. Allah has been God my whole life. And he has never let me fall. I'm here talking to you because I'm okay. I'm here talking to you. And that's proof to me that I've been through hell. All of us have. I've been through some hard trials. some struggles. And then after those struggles came ease. There will be more struggles, but I know that on the other side of those struggles will be ease again. And there's some more struggle. And
Yes,
when
ma'am.
you are facing fear and loss and you're facing transitions, for example, a lot of my gyms are closing, which means my income is being diminished. So that's scary. That's frightening. But when all these doors begin to close at the same time, it means something so big to me. It means it's time. These doors wouldn't close if there weren't other doors for you to walk through. And you can be afraid and you can talk yourself out of those doors. You can talk yourself into a much, because sometimes we think when we're in hell, we can't get any lower. Oh, if things can always get worse. Ooh, they can always get worse. And I used to say, oh, I'm in hell, right? This is hell right here. Nothing is working. So at least I know I done hit rock bottom right here. And then the bottom dropped out. And it got worse. And then you become even more afraid. But these are all tests. These are all blessings in disguise that are like going into a gym and seeing weights. You lift those weights. Sometimes when you're under a heavy barbell, you don't know if you could push that barbell up or not. And that's scary. Your heart starts beating fast, but you lift it up. And then the next time you come, you hit one more rep and then one more rep. And now those reps, you're not even shaking anymore. So you got to add more weight.
Yes,
That's
ma'am.
the struggle. So you add more struggle, you get stronger. And as you get stronger, you are able to, hopefully, you learn to have faith in your abilities. You have faith that Allah will not let you fall if you don't let go of him. He won't let you fall. You might dangle out there for a minute. You might suffer, maybe because it's time for you to learn something about yourself. A lot of times when we suffer and we're going through a trial, it's because we're fighting in that instead of in surrender. At a certain point, you got to surrender the struggle and let go. If it's nothing I can do about this, I can't do anything about all of these gyms. I don't own these gyms. They're all closing. They didn't consult little old me about these clubs closing. So it's nothing I can do about it. I have to accept that. And I have to have faith that there is better for me because there was before. And I got here to this place. And so even though I'm in a place of something a little scary, I know that it is an opportunity. It's a great opportunity. And I'm built for this life. This is my life. I can't be separated from my life. So obviously we are all built for our lives, but sometimes we get to a place where it's so heavy, we get lost in depression and sadness, and that's all so real. And we need a hand. We need somebody to pull us and help us out of there. But sometimes we don't seek that help because of pride or because we get so lost to ourselves. And all you needed to do really was come to this present moment and say, what am I feeling? What am I really feeling? Because a lot of times we think we're supposed to never feel sad. We just put a happy face sticker on the sadness.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm not sad. I'm happy. I won't allow, you can admit that there is sadness here or there is anger here. Those intense emotions are real. We've all felt them. Without intense emotions, that's just intensity. And without intensity, there is no transformation. So it's okay to be angry. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to be disappointed for a while. But then you have to start having some faith, doing faithful things, move your body, because that's going to automatically change your mind. When I used to homeschool my children, when they would get stuck on a problem or they would get angry, they would get sad, I would stop school and make them do jumping jacks. And then I would make them do push-ups. And then I would make them do squats. Before they got to the end of the workout, they would be giggling and acting silly. And I said, well, why are you laughing? They wouldn't even know why they're laughing, because if you change your physical state, your emotional state is going to change.
Yes,
Then
ma'am.
they would go to school and they would be able to work this problem out. Sometimes you just need separation from a thing. And then your mind will open. That was
excellent. Okay, you teach it. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Yes, ma'am. And Sister Naima says, all praises to Allah. Yes, ma'am. Wonderful. Okay, great. Thank you very much for your honesty, transparency. Doing a great job, ma'am. I wanted to ask you about, I know you said you don't like the yoga music, but what type of music do you listen to outside of the yoga? Like, when you're not, just like could you like to dance? So what type of music do you enjoy dancing to?
Everything on the back of that wall behind you. You know what? The first thing my eye was drawn to was DMX. My children, I would play the clean version, but they kind of grew up on DMX. They love them some DMX. I love DMX. I love the Roots. I love Wu-Tang Clan. I love rap music. I love rap music, hip hop. I like R&B music. I love R&B music, but I rarely listen to the radio, honestly. I love, how did I forget? House music. It's house music. I'm from Chi-Town. It's house music. That's what I dance to.
Okay,
I
yes,
dance to house music. I'll dance to anything, but it's house music, basically.
Wonderful. Okay. Your favorite memory with my mom? Could you let us know?
It's so many. I learned so much from her, and she wasn't even trying to teach me. The things that I learned the most from her, she taught a lot. She taught all the time. She was always teaching. She was my instructor and trainer. But what I learned the most from her, oh man, I wish I knew about that question. I'd have got myself together. But I learned the most from her when she wasn't trying to teach me, just watching how she lived her life. She lived her life with so much strength and grace. She was super strong. But she reminded me of one of my aunts. One of my aunts, she always got this little half smile on her face, even if she's not happy. And Sister Sharifa could half cuss you out with a smile on her face, really. Even if, and she never did. She never cussed you out. She was never mean. But I learned really how she conducted herself that's what I got the most. I wasn't a mother when I met her. And she had, I think it was Naima. I think Naima was the baby. I can't remember which baby it was when you guys first came to Illinois, to the mosque in Chicago, but she was nursing a baby. And I remember your father saying, wait till my wife get here. You just wait till, you'll see. She gonna change everything. She gonna turn everything around. And boy, did she. So I can't even really point to one memory in particular, but I remember her nursing a baby and just, we say queen all the time, but she really was that. She was really that, because when I think of a queen anyway, I think of somebody like Minister Ava, like somebody so strong, but so feminine at the same time. And that's what she was. She wasn't like, she wasn't like, I don't know. People have such different ideas of what femininity is, but she was strong and giving. She gave a lot of herself to the nation and to the sisterhood. And I think I just learned from her composure. I remember asking her one time when I was first moving, I was a young wife, just got married, slick mouth, to the day I die, all day, all day. And I asked her, I said, well, how do you keep, if they go there, if they say what, then we supposed to say what? You know what I mean? I kind of was just like, I want to get past this mouth of mine. How do you do it? She said, you just have to desire it. Do you desire that? I said, I desire it all the time, but it's not helping me, but it was helping me. So she was right. Your desire is going to feed your will. And so you're not going to, just because you desire something, you're not going to just reach a level of perfection in that moment. And that's what I was looking for. I was looking to be better in that. The next argument, I'm going to be like this. No, I'm not. Because I've been me for my whole life, you know.
Yes, ma'am.
And it's taken years. And I think those are the biggest things that stick with me, is just how committed she was, how devoted she was to her children, how much she loved y'all. She was a true example. She really was an example in every way,
Beautiful. Praise be to God. Thank you very much, Sis Deniel. Thank you all, everyone who's watching.
For the questions.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, two more questions for you. One more. We grew up watching drill DVDs all the time, and we always see you being a drill instructor. And what was your favorite moment as far as being a DI and drilling?
Well, I would like to say I learned how to be a DI. I took my style from Sister Ina. I don't know if you know Ina.
I know of her because of the people, my interviews.
Yes, she was fantastic. And I learned from her how to be a DI. But what I loved the most was just teaching the sisters the routines. In Milwaukee, we laughed so much. And I was really something else back then. I was so hardcore back then. And they appreciate it now. I cringe at my old self. I cringe at that young girl. Who do you think you're talking to, little girl? That's really how I like feel. But when I talk to those sisters, they say, but it was so good for us. It helped us to be stronger. It made us more cracked. It was the relationships. The relationships is what I remember the most. Moving as a unit, that is so amazing and powerful. And I do it now in my yoga class. So when I'm saying inhale, do this, exhale, do this, and everybody is moving, on the same accord in unity.
Yes,
there's power to doing things as one. There's so much power in that. And so I love that. I just loved, being with the sisters and teaching them my crazy routines. I don't know if you saw that so many people were like, you just cannot let go of Michael Jackson. I took a whole Michael Jackson dance step and turned it into a drill routine. And
okay.
And they killed it. But I just love the relationships from those practices. It was the practices that I loved the most about being a DI and building those relationships with those sisters.
Beautiful. Yes, ma'am. We have one more question. And thank you all. And Sis Deniel, on behalf of myself, my family, and the viewing audience of the People's Podcast, we just want to let you know that we thank Allah for your sacrifices of the past, of the present day, and as well as the future. Thank you very much for everything that you have done to help us as a people, but primarily me and my family. We thank you very much for how you always kind and nice to us. So we appreciate that. And Mimi still has a picture of her in your wedding. So, she's always.
Me too.
Yes, beautiful, beautiful. What would you like your legacy to be, ma'am?
Wow. Now, I've been asked that a lot of times before I should have an answer. First of all, thank you so much for that. Your family, y'all are just goals. Y'all were always goals. All of y'all. So beautiful. I'm about to cry. You made me so emotional. I love your family so much. Your family has been kind to me since I met y'all. I met Brother Sharif first, and he was so kind and supportive. And then I met your mom and your sisters and your brother. Y'all have always been so kind, so thank you for that. That means so much to me. It means everything to me.
Yes,
and so that helped me to say what I want my legacy to be. I want my legacy to be that anybody could approach me, that people knew and felt what I truly feel. I'm so emotional. These last few weeks, I've had to say goodbye to so many people. And I just want people to feel what I feel. And I feel so much love for people that allow me to assist them in the ways that I do assist them, who accept my help as I'm giving it. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, ma'am.
And I don't know how that sounds, but a lot of people cannot accept who you are as you are. But I'm going to be who I am as I am all day, every day until I'm dead. And so I want my legacy to be that I love the people that know me, know that I love them, even if I didn't know them well. I am blessed with a certain type of sight that I can see people past when they're in a bad mood or when they treat me poorly. I can see past that to what has got them coming to me in that way. And I want them to feel the authentic love that I feel for them. And I want them to be inspired by that. And I want them to feel better about themselves. I used to always tell my children, in particular, my middle son, who was bullied a lot in school. He was very talented. He could do anything. Whatever he does, he's going to be the best at it. And I would tell him they're mad. We say mad a lot these days, but I would say they don't believe in themselves. They look at you and what you can do and what you have, and they just want it for themselves. So don't be angry with them. They're just jealous, and they are not looking at what they've been blessed with. They're overlooking their gifts. And so they're angry with you because they see you as having something that they don't have. I want people to see me. And I always want to connect people to what this wealth of talent and love and energy that is within them. I want them to know that they matter so much. I don't really, honestly, I don't care about my legacy. I always try to think of a good answer when people ask that, but I've never cared. I don't care what people think about me. I don't care. Let that be the legacy. Don't care what people think about you. Love yourself truly and authentically, past what you look like, past how you are shaped. Can you see yourself past all of these thoughts and all of this training that we've gotten to look at ourselves in a certain way, which 9 times out of 10 are less than optimal? I just want people to love themselves more, because then you're going to love me better. You're going to treat me better when you love yourself better. So I don't know. I don't know that I care about my legacy, honestly. I just do my best every day. And sometimes I fall short. But I continue. What I've learned is to forgive myself faster. I forgive myself so much faster. And I remind myself, you are a student in this earth school. And we are all students here. And we are but students. We're trying to become masters. But even when we master something, there's another level of mastery beyond that. So I'm a happy student, and I want to be a humble student and servant of everybody that comes around me. I honestly do. Thank you so much for you asked some really amazing questions. I appreciate you so much. You're so beautiful, so handsome.
Oh, thank you very much, man.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, seriously.
Absolutely. Well, this is Joshua Leonard Muhammad signing off of the People's Podcast. Assalamu alaikum, Sis Deniel.
Alaikum salam.
And thank you all for watching. Let's put this on YouTube right now.